this video we're going to talk about table setting, how to set the table. Let's start with the tablecloth.
So first of all, we have a tablecloth which should be ironed and pressed neatly.
Absolutely.
And there can be 3 layers on a table. The first one will be your table protector, or your silencer pad. That is a thicker material or cloth.
Do you remember the pool tables? The felt.
The felt.
It's cut out. They put it on the table to give the volume to a table. So if you go to La Gavroche in France, in Paris, you'll see those thick, beautiful tables.
And then of course your underlay that will go all the way down to the floor, and over that, just hanging over the side of the table, your overlay.
Okay, so we're going to put a silence pad on, then we're going to put an underlay. It almost looks like a netted skirt, yes.
A skirt for the table,
and then on top of that, we're going to put an overlay.
That's great.
And to give those layers, those are very nice. I remember when working on Cunard Ocean Liner, we had to do that every day for fine dining for our tables. So the tablecloth is important. I think when it comes to fine dining, you should have a tablecloth.
Yes, and then the second part of the table linen is of course your napkin.
Yes, absolutely. A nice starched, rich, firm napkin.
Yes.
So let's start. So we put our tablecloth on. Then there is a Butler stick or a measuring tool. Now if you work with 60 centimeters when it comes to a table setting, then I think that is more than enough. Try to not put too many things onto the table that are not necessary. Look at your menu first.
Yes.
Very important to look at your menu first. So on our menu we have a amuse-bouche.
Yes.
Do we set cutlery for amuse-bouche?
It all depends.
It all depends. Sometimes you would use starter cutlery for an amuse-bouche if it's a very difficult item. It depends on how the chef is making this amuse-bouche.
Yes.
Absolutely. The next item we have is a prawn cocktail. We'll definitely set for a prawn cocktail. And then we're going to have a soup, which is a creme du barry. And then we're going to have a stew, which is a meat stew. And we will set cutlery for that as well. We have a sorbet. Now this is very much like the amuse-bouche, where we will decide whether we're going to mise en place the item for service, to not add too many cutlery to the side. And then we're going to finish with crêpe Suzette. Now, when you set the table, an excellent tip would be working from the back inwards. So we work from the dessert backwards. So for our dessert cutlery, I prefer, and I like it this way, to place the dessert cutlery on the top. Now, a mistake that many people make is they swap the spoon and the fork over. We will tell you about that when we get there. So the tip would be from the outside inwards. So let's recap. We've got 60 centimeters. We've got different plates that we can put on a table. We've got an underplate. We've got a show plate. And we have a base plate. In the next video, we will show you the difference about the plates. We're using here
a beautiful
underplate.
It's decorative.
Yes.
It makes the table beautiful.
Yes, and it's a nice way to start with it so that you know if you're measuring out your table, this table is now round, but if you have a long table, you must make sure everybody fits in, not someone fall off on the side of the table. And let's talk about the measurements. So if I have a 2-meter table, what are we going to do?
Depends on how many people I want to place at the table. If I'm going to place 3 people on that side of 2 meters, then I'm going to take 3 plus 1, which gives you 4, and I'm going to divide 2 meters by 4, which will give me 50 centimeters, and that means from the side of the table, I'll measure in 50 centimeters, and exactly there will be the middle of my place setting.
And it's so important because everybody should be exactly opposite each other, not one to the side and the other one this way. I think that will really be would be weird at a table where people are not facing each other as well.
Yes.
So we're going to put our underplate down. Then we're going to measure out, I always say about 3 or 4 centimeters for the cutlery, so there's space out there. And we're going to start to set from the dessert then through to the starter.
Meaning from the bottom of the menu to the starter.
Absolutely. So let's work it. We put our underplate down, then we're going to put our dessert cutlery. Now the spoon for the dessert, I would always go on the top because it travels all the way from the right hand side to the top, and then the fork, which is a dessert fork, will go from the left hand side to the top. So the whale, I call it the whale,
yes.
Which, you know,
or the heavy item.
In South Africa, it's so beautiful because it's whale season.
Yes.
So you'll see all this water coming out when it breeds. So the whales are always on the top, facing the forks, and this would be a tiny seahorse at the bottom. And so that will be our dessert cutlery. Then we are going to work now with our main course.
Yes.
So main course cutlery is a main course knife and a main course fork. We just place everything down and then you'll measure it afterwards and put it in position. And if you have fish course, the fish course goes afterwards. And then you have a starter course and then a spoon, soup spoon. But soup spoon is round. A dessert spoon is oval. Remember that. Glasses go with on the right hand side, forks on the left hand side, and the knives and spoons on the right hand side. If you have a sorbet spoon, you'll put it on the right hand side. Where does the oyster fork go?
The oyster fork will go on the left hand side. And remember that your knife should always show the same way inside.
When I was at Butler school, I made that mistake in my table exam. I placed my knife that way. They were facing the other way. And here at the Butler Academy, it's quite often a mistake that students make. So they all have to face this way. A bread plate can either be placed on top or on the left hand side. And then your salt and pepper should be placed in this gap where there are no glasses on this side.
Yes.
We have a name card. It's important. You can place the name card in the middle if you like, or on the top. And a menu that will be placed in front of the guests so that they can see the menu for the evening. Very important when it comes to glasses, not to get confused.
Yes. So we have different glasses and different stemware, and every glass got a certain purpose. Your biggest or tallest glass or highest in volume will always be your water glass.
And that I always say, there's different ways, but start with the main course knife. We have your water glass, your red wine glass, and your white wine glass. They have to go down this way. You can place them in front if you like, or you can place them in a triangle this way so that they go up.
Like a little indicator sign.
Yes, yes, yes. So I like it when it goes for space wise. So we will place the water glass, the red wine glass, move it up so it fits exactly above the cutlery. It needs to be easy accessible. It mustn't be difficult to get the glass because water is what we drink often during the meal, and the different glasses, they must not touch each other.
And always be mindful. Put the glasses in such a way that it makes it easy for you to pour the wine or the water.
Absolutely. So this is how to set a table.
Of course, we forgot about the napkin.
Absolutely. In our next video, we're going to show you different napkin folds, and we are going to place the napkin in the middle. Exactly. If you have a napkin ring, can you tell us more about the napkin ring?
The napkin ring's got a certain etiquette about it. It's got a certain mystique. The napkin ring, when the napkin is placed on the lap, will be removed from the napkin and placed on the table. And it's so to say that if you're going to leave the table and not returning, you'll then, on the end of the meal, take your napkin, pull it through the ring and leave it on the table. That will be an indication that you've left the table and you will not return.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for more videos and more etiquette and everything we're going to teach you through our virtual Butler School and online training.